Hey everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all 19 weapons in Saros on a tier list from best to worst. I've platinumed the game and done many more runs to determine which of these weapons are the true best. And I gotta say, there are some standouts here, but the modifiers you find in the weapons are what makes them truly powerful. Now I've seen a lot of people say that shotguns in this game are pretty bad, and early on they aren't really that amazing when you got pistols and rifles to choose from, but at the end game, especially the Annihilator Shotgun, they are insane for mobbing, but they do fall off a bit against bossing. And you can see here, there are some weapons that are insanely powerful against bosses, which we'll be breaking down in this video. Now, the alt fires are really what makes a weapon special. Like, for example, the Eruptor Handcannon here, its alt fire lets you charge up and do a burst of all of the shots at once, which you can see does some pretty crazy stuff, but it also has another use of its alt fire. You can just spam the shots like you're using the Ricochet Handcannon, and this one's got some pretty crazy stagger damage. Now, two things that we're typically looking for on weapons is certain modifiers. The power generator, after receiving a nerf recently, is still extremely strong, and anything that lets you generate power, because prominence is the best weapon in the game. This thing is just super powerful. Stun potential is off the charts, and everything about it is just good. And typically most weapons have their alt fire give them a substantial boost to their DPS. Like the regular fire rate for the Eruptor Handcannon here, you can see that there. It doesn't shoot crazy fast. However, if we use the alt fire, you can just spam it or you can charge it up, and it is really quick that way. And for a quick breakdown of how weapons and scaling on them works, they're going to scale off a specific stat. You're going to see arrows here. 3 arrows means it's going to scale higher, and you can see where it is relative to what you got. If you see the corrupted symbol up here, it deals more damage the more corruption you have. If you see a little red symbol, it means that it does not have the auto hit. And you can go into your inventory at any time to see the different modifiers that you have on it. Something you're always looking out for is anything related to power. The power corruption here generates extra power, which scales with the amount of corruption. So that can be nice if you're running on high corruption, but you can also see how the alt fires will work for the weapons. And some of them are insanely strong. Others are like still really good, but for the most part, you're going to want to use them. And level 0 through 1, or level 0 through 10, you'll get 1 modifier. 10 to 20, you'll get 2. 20 to 30, you'll get 3. 30 to 40, you get 4. And 40 to 50, you'll get 5 modifiers. And this scales up in halves for the power weapons. So, and just some general thoughts on the weapons. My favorite ones to use were the Chakrams and the crossbows. And actually the Myriad Chakram here actually functions as somewhat like an assault rifle with infinite ammo. It is extremely powerful. And once you find it, if you like the assault rifles, you probably want to use this weapon. So let's dive right into all 19 weapons. First, starting off with the Ricochet Handcannon here. Now, this alt fire has a saturation fire. Similar to the Eruptor, it lets you shoot as fast as you can pull the trigger. Now, what we want to look for when we're finding this weapon is the modifier that'll give you 1 round back when you use your alt fire on the enemy's weakness. This will turn this weapon really powerful because you're typically going to be aiming for their weak point anyways, and being able to turn that alt fire into something even stronger is really great. Now, typically with this weapon, you're always going to be wanting to use the alt fire, and for most weapons, that's kind of the case. There are some which I'll break down in this video, but what makes the Ricochet Handcannon so powerful is those obviously ricocheting shots, letting you take care of mobbing really easily because you're going to be not just hitting 1 target, but 2. And if you have piercing rounds, it can maybe even be 3 or 4. Like, the damage in large groups from this gun is really good. Now, most people don't think pistols are that great, but I gotta say, across the board, all of them actually work pretty well. And there is a standout here, which we'll get to, but the Ricochet Handcannon is a really fun weapon. I love being able to get infinite ammo, basically, by using this, and the fast fire rate is really good. Now, since it is kind of similar to the Eruptor, these are 2 hard ones to compare between each other because each of them has their differences and benefits. With the Ricochet, it's going to be better for damage in an area of effect. The Eruptor is better at stagger damage and better for single target damage, but both of them you can't go wrong. I honestly think the Ricochet is either like a B tier to A tier, but for right now, I do think it is like a high B tier just because there are some big standout weapons. Like, this is a really powerful one, but out of all the pistols, they're all really good. Now here's the Eruptor Handcannon. It'll shoot in a 3-round burst, and again, you can unload the entire clip into, or magazine into someone if you want to, but with this gun, it is nice that you got the option to do the alt fire. So this one comes with a weak point feeder, which can give you power back. It also comes with that alt fire to let you charge up your shots. Headhunter will increase the damage as you continue to hit the same target, which does actually quite a bit whenever you charge this up. It's the explosive rounds that make this thing crazy because it gives them great stagger. And you can see here, if the Eruptor Handcannon gets that full load off, sometimes the recoil is a bit rough on it, so it is one that sometimes you want to get in close whenever you're using it, but you saw there, the stagger that you can get from this thing is insane. So if you like to use the stagger, it gives you those increased melee hits, which I gotta say are overpowered in this game because it gives you invincibility frames and the damage from it is so high. But you can see there, you can even just use the alt fire to just shoot off quick bursts of it. So yeah, it is, I would say the Eruptor Handcannon is a little bit better than the Ricochet in most cases. Now, there is a difference between mobbing and bossing, and this one is better for bossing, which is really where the weapon really does shine, but it is also amazing for mobbing too. So I would have to say that this is like probably like a high B to potential A tier. It is a slight bit better than the Ricochet in my opinion, just because its alt fire does somewhat of the same thing, but higher stagger damage and the exploding rounds are nice. And the Marksman Handcannon, corrupted again, giving extra damage when corrupted, has the auto mark here, which lets you tag a target. You also get the Headhunter, giving you increased damage on headshots. Hitting the same target increases the damage. Death load, killing an enemy with its weak point will reload the magazine, and Contagious Mark will spread around to multiple targets. So this is not just good against mobbing, but against bosses, it's insane. You're going to see it here against the King boss, because you can put that alt fire on an enemy, and then it gives you that auto aim onto them. Now, this gun is going to do more damage than our other pistols, but that's not all. It's going to give you increased stagger. It has a fast fire rate. Everything about this pistol is fantastic, and it does have that obvious downside of not having auto aim on it, but being able to target a boss just like that with that alt fire, that auto mark, is just so good. And you can see it here, we're just beaming him in the face, and this boss has a lot of health, being able to do crazy damage since his damage is higher than the other pistols, and it's got a lot more skill expression on this weapon. This one is definitely the best pistol, and it's a lot of fun to use. You can beat the final boss using this relatively easy. Not that you can with the other pistols, I just think this gives you the best chance of taking down bosses, but also getting that auto mark to be able to automatically auto aim on every single target. Once you get this up and leveled up, it's a beast of a weapon. Having that higher proficiency obviously gives it such a great boost, but comparing it between the other three hand cannons, it is the best choice, and I want to put it in the S tier, but there are some weapons in this game that I think are deserving of that, and I don't want to litter it too much. The B tier is kind of where I'm trying to balance this around. So yeah, the Marksman Handcannon is a crazy good weapon. And next up, we got the Tactical Rifle. Now, there are 3 rifles in the game. This one and the Smart Rifle are very similar in how they work. This one can come with a super load, giving you increased damage on the trigger pull when you get a perfect reload. Spectral Round will let you shoot off additional projectiles that'll home in on the target. Power generator here, the best one in the game, even again after its nerf. This will give you power, and you want to use prominence often. This can also come with cover fire here. There's a lot of other modifiers. My thoughts on the rifles are they're great, and they're a comfort pick. I think they're the 2 of them here, Smart Rifle and Tactical, are amazing. The alt fire on it is a straight DPS boost, because whenever you use it, you shoot slower at the start. So if you were to use this weapon on an enemy that's almost finished off, don't use the alt fire. But against every other target, that increased fire rate gives you much higher DPS, so that's really where this weapon does shine. It does have a really fun usage, but I do think between it and the Smart Rifle, I slightly prefer the Smart Rifle, which also looks cooler. The damage from these things is pretty good, but in all honesty, using the hand cannons, I found I got much higher damage out of them. The stagger is where these do shine, but if you're using the Eruptor Handcannon or even the Marksman, that's kind of their whole thing. But yeah, the Tactical Rifle's not bad. Having that alt fire to shoot even quicker is amazing for bosses. So if you're going against a boss, you pretty much always want to be using the alt fire on this thing just for that slightly increased DPS boost. It does have solid stagger too, as you saw there. The rifles in this game are good. Like, there's nothing bad to say about them. It's just that some of the other weapons do what they do a little bit better, like the Myriad Chakram, which is kind of like a assault rifle, but much more powerful. And these things are just good for general purpose, and you get them pretty early on, so they're good weapons. I'd say the Tactical Rifle is B tier. It's hard to put it near the hand cannon, the Eruptor Ricochet Handcannon, because both of them are good in particular instances. I found a bit more luck using the hand cannons, but your mileage may vary. They're both really good. This will come down to whatever modifiers you're able to get on it. Obviously, a power generator on an assault rifle is amazing with their fast fire rate. So if you can find one of these, it will be better than a hand cannon in some situations. Now, the Smart Rifle, you can consider these like brothers. They're very similar. Now, you can get a variety of different rolls on these. I may do another video in the future, but with this, you can get additional rounds on it. You can shoot off extra rounds when you let go of the trigger. The split Smart rounds will allow you to have 3 homing shots that go around the target. So yeah, the alt fire is pretty solid. You can see the damage here. Now compared to the start of this video when I was using the Chakram was 10 levels lower than this weapon, and the damage it was doing was much higher. The smart rifle is a good choice though. Like it's a smart pick to take because it's easy to use, it looks cool, the vibration from it's awesome, the damage is good too, having that auto aim, and it's very generous with that auto aim. I slightly prefer using this over the tactical rifle. I think the tactical rifle ends up having a bit more stagger on it, but I found the damage from this was a bit higher. Now it is a good weapon, but it does have like obvious some downsides because it's a rifle, it's an all-purpose weapon, so the damage from this thing isn't as high as some of the others on this list, but nonetheless it's a strong choice, and I'd say this is another B tier pick I'm going to put above the tactical rifle, but both of them are very good weapons. Now the Onslaught Rifle. This is another weapon similar to the Marksman Handcannon that does not have automatic aim. It can come with a power generator, which is obviously quite strong, but really where it shines is the stagger potential. It's not uncommon with this weapon for you to actually end up staggering a boss, which again is really good because that gives you invincibility as you dash towards them. But another thing, this weapon has insanely high damage. This thing is super fun to use. It's just a more skill expression type weapon similar to the Marksman Cannon, but the difference is with the Marksman Cannon you can get that auto aim so that you're not going to be missing your shots. With this one you do have to play a bit more, but the alt fire on this thing shreds, like absolutely shreds. You can see me using it here. This makes it aim a little bit closer in. You do automatic shots, the stagger goes up, the damage goes up, it becomes a crazy weapon and very much so worth using. If you can get past the manual aiming, like you see there, you just delete anything in your path. This isn't even a fully maxed out weapon. It's like level 36 or proficiency 36 here. It shreds. It's honestly such a good weapon. If you can get past the purpose of it, like not being able to aim onto targets automatically, you're going to have a really good weapon in your hand. So this is like another weapon where it's clearly meant to be the stronger option. But one thing I found amazing with this, it has really great long range options if you don't jump off the map like I just did there. So you can actually backpedal quite a bit and use its alt fire to do insane damage at enemies from range. And then it's likely going to break their posture, and then you get in for that free punch, which is just so good. It's also pretty good at close range too, just because of how high the stagger is on this thing, so you can break postures really easily with it. The Onslaught, I do think is better than the Marksman Handcannon. The only downside is that it doesn't have an automatic way to aim, so this is one where if you're really good at aiming, like if you play lots of third-person shooters, you're going to have a great time with this, and in that, I would say it's an S tier weapon. For most people, it's probably like a high A tier. Unless you're really good at aim, you're not going to want to really use something like this. So it is a situational one where I will set it into the S tier just because I do think this gun is insanely strong. That alt fire is just so good with the amount of damage you can do from it. And you can also just backpedal, beam a boss in its face, and it's just a really good weapon. But again, higher skill ceiling. Now getting into these shotguns, the Stalwart Shotgun is a bit underrated because I don't think a lot of people know how to properly use it. It comes with the pellet wall alt fire. This is a little bit weird whenever you first use it. You may wonder why would I want to slow down my fire rate? Well, it doesn't actually slow down your fire rate. This is a weapon where you want to use your main fire, alt fire, main fire, alt fire, which will increase your fire rate and the amount of damage that you're able to do with it. It's honestly a very powerful weapon here. I am just spamming my power weapon there, but it has crazy stagger too. Like all three of the shotguns actually do quite a bit when it comes to stagger. There is obviously really good rolls for certain shotguns, and I have a personal favorite when it comes to shotguns. This one's fun though. It's nice to be able to weave between the alt fire and the main fire. And I love this weapon in Nightmare Strands because you can see here, you can just pump them full of lead really well. And yeah, this thing is really fun to use. Great stagger, you can see right there. This is kind of the purpose of using shotguns. As mentioned at the start of this video, shotguns are not ideal at the start of the game when you don't really have like the proficiency to get some of the better rolls on it. And you're not going to be breaking posture. You likely don't have the skill tree upgraded to give yourself increased damage. But you can see there, we're literally just breaking posture left, right, and center. This thing is crazy good. I see people ranking this really lowly. When I was looking for images for the weapons, I end up for my video here just took screenshots from my video because there's no real images on the internet, but I've seen some tier lists ranking this like D tier. This gun is good. It just isn't good at the start of the game, and I'm not sure if they just used it at the start and just dismissed it as not being good, but I see a lot of shotgun slander on things like Reddit as well. The shotguns in this game are very good. So yeah, the Stalwart Shotgun here, it has a fun way of playing with it. I'd have to say though, it does fall off against bosses, which is going to keep it out of the higher tiers. But I will say this, the Stalwart Shotgun is going to go into the top of the B tier. That alt fire is just so good. Also, if you're looking to get this spread the cost achievement, going against Bastion is your best chance to get it. You have to land 7 consecutive shots in a row, and you can see there, I got it. This was really hard to do with the Annihilator, which has a really wide spread. So if you're looking to do this achievement, this is the best boss as it stays stationary. And yeah, that Stalwart Shotgun is the answer. And next up is the Horde Shotgun. Now, the Horde Shotgun is the first shotgun you're going to find, and it's kind of vanilla, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It has an alt fire that lets you change it to a vertical spread, which does tighten things up quite a bit. So whenever you use this, you're much more likely to be able to land your shots. But you can see this is another stagger beast of a weapon. It takes 1 to 2 pumps to get your stagger off on enemies, again, giving you that invincibility. And you can see here that it actually does kind of shine when it is at a higher level. This is like proficiency 33 here. So just to show there, I'm only level 33, not even like fully maxed out, and it's causing massive amounts of stagger. The damage from this thing is really good as well, and it's a pretty fun weapon too. Shotguns in this game reward you for getting in close. The whole thing with using a shotgun is you're trying to get as many pellets to land as possible, and if you shot a shotgun in this game, you've probably seen it kind of looks like this when you're using a shotgun because the pellets go everywhere. So that's where this weapon really does shine, because you're able to tighten things up. You can just use the regular fire there if you got a bunch of enemies in an area, you're trying to hit them all with the spread, but the spread on the shotguns is crazy. But you're seeing it here, the stagger we're getting on these mini bosses is crazy. This is a Nightmare Strand. The shotguns make Nightmare Strand such a blast to play through. I'm so shocked at the amount of people that's saying shotguns suck in this game, because they are some of the best weapons in this game, just not against bosses. For mobbing, they are incredible, being able to just knock down enemies like this. The damage is high, they're a fun weapon to use. But I do think between the shotguns, the Horde Shotgun's good, but it's a little vanilla. I'd actually probably say on the tier list here, I'm going to put this below the Ricochet Handcannon. I found the Ricochet Handcannon a little bit better. I'm going to actually put it somewhere like, if we're considering bossing heavily, the rifles are better. If we're looking at just general mobbing, it's probably somewhere around here, but I'm going to put it at the bottom of the B tier just because against bosses, shotguns do kind of fall off. And next up is the Annihilator Shotgun. This thing is actually kind of insane because it can come with some very powerful abilities. The stagger amount is what we're looking for on this weapon whenever you go to pick it up, as its alt fire shoots a grenade, which is insane. Broadside will reduce the clip by half, but if you're able to get a perfect reload off, it'll shoot a 3-round burst of the full magazine, or if you're using the grenade, it'll shoot 2 of them for the full magazine, as they take 2 ammo per shot. And what makes this so crazy is it's also got to recuperate, so you can heal yourself if you're getting in close with this weapon. But it's really this broadside that's so crazy, especially if you're going to use the Carcosa modifier to give you perfect reloads a little easier. If you don't get the perfect reload off, it is quite a bit of a negative to its DPS, so that is one thing to consider. But if you get it off, it gets crazy because you just shoot and shoot and shoot, and you'll get into a rhythm while you're using it where you just blast, 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 get the perfect reload, and keep ripping with it. It's crazy when you get rolling like that, especially it's the broadside that just makes it so powerful. This will only show up if you're level 40 or higher. And if you want to get that early on, you're going to want to look for any artifacts that are going to boost up your Lucenite gain. There's a bunch of different ones, especially ones that increase your melee Lucenite gain, which is really good because this is going to stagger enemies, giving you that boost. But yeah, it's just such a fun weapon, especially if you get like that, the perfect aim off, because you can shoot 2 grenades really quickly. You can do the full blast, and even at long range there, you saw good damage. And it absolutely destroys Nightmare Strands because, again, crazy. It has the highest stagger of all the shotguns. That alt fire that it does where it gives you the grenade is insane. Staggers are so good for the invincibility, but you can literally get them staggered out of the air. You saw that there. That enemy got staggered and they went flying because they were in movement while they got staggered. But you can shoot the grenade long range. You can just use the regular old shotgun blast here. It has recuperate as well, so that's amazing because if you end up taking damage, you can just shoot and get it back. And this thing staggers at such a fast rate. You can see it here. We're just doing some incredible damage. So with that, I'd have to say the Annihilator Shotgun, I want to put it S tier, but it does fall off against bosses. Not to say you can't use it against bosses. It's still a good weapon, but it does have some limitations outside of that. But I gotta say, this is probably one of the most fun weapons to do Nightmare Strands with, just because the stagger from it. The grenade launcher is amazing. You can power yourself up, get your prominence off really quickly. It's just all around good. Now, getting into the crossbows, we got the Repeater Crossbow here first. Now, what is beautiful about this weapon is its alt fire and its main fire both have uses. So, as I was saying earlier, typically you want to have your alt fire going. In this case, the alt fire is amazing in most situations, but sometimes you just want to use the regular fire. That was the alt fire there, so whenever you shoot the projectiles off, it's going to home in and find the target again. Use this when there's a lot of flyers. There's a lot of situations where there's a ton of mini enemies around. You can use that just to make your job a whole lot lot easier. Certain bosses like Legion, who have those protectors there where you don't want to use that, you can just use your regular fire. So again, the Legion boss in particular, which is one that comes to mind, because when you use the alt fire on this gun, it doesn't end up doing a very good job. You can just use the main fire in that case. So it's basically a counter for everything. It's a strong weapon. I like the look of it. Now, there are 3 different crossbows in this game, and 2 of them are very, very good, but there's just one that's not as amazing. But I gotta say, the Repeater Crossbow, it's probably one of the best weapons in the game, in all honesty. I'm going to throw in the S tier just because it has an incredible alt fire. It has a great main fire. The damage is good. You don't have to worry about perfect reloads. Everything about this thing is just a blast to use too. Like, I think it's one of the cooler looking weapons in the game. There is one that I think is a little bit better in terms of the crossbow damage, but we'll get to that in a moment. Because next we got the Impactor Crossbow. Now, this one I don't love, and I've tried many different rolls of it. I just haven't been able to find a situation where this gun feels better than the other 2 crossbows, or really any of the other weapons here. So with this, you charge up 3 bursts, and then you do a shot. This is similar to the Bifurcator Crossbow, which we'll get to in a moment, but the damage from this is much lower than it, and the alt fire from this thing isn't even that good. So this weapon, I've tried it many different ways, and I just can't find it to be a super solid weapon. The thing is, you can get the power generator, the javelin, it'll shoot off into multiple homing projectiles if you hit a target's weak point, so it does have some nice rolls that you can get on it. Typically it's that alt fire, or the alt fire is nice, but if you can get it so that you can shoot automatically, basically what you want to do is you go in for a melee attack and then shoot this thing multiple times. The damage from this just isn't as good as some of the others on this list. So I'd actually have to say the Impactor Crossbow, I'm going to put in the C tier. It just feels so much worse than the other 2 crossbows, and they kind of have similar properties where you don't have to reload, but when you're shooting with this one, you have to consciously think to let go of the trigger. It's going to be a DPS loss if you hold your finger on the trigger for like a millisecond longer than you need to, when the other ones are just going to automatically keep shooting with their auto aim. So yeah, it's not as good as the other, especially now when that the good old-fashioned Repeater Crossbow can do all that it can do. Another thing I just want to quickly mention, the Repeater Crossbow, is you can actually, if you're in an area, you can shoot it at the ground and let it home in on targets. And there's a lot of areas in this game where you can actually just kind of cheese it by hiding and shooting into a room from away. So yeah, the Repeater is just way better in Impactor. Next is the Bifurcator Crossbow. Now, this thing is crazy. That's the alt fire there, similar to what we got with the Repeater Crossbow. The radial burst, so fires a single powerful bolt that splits off, has aggressive homing. You can also have this so that when you melee someone, they'll have the auto aim and shoot even faster. And that is crazy because that's a huge boost to your DPS. And if you're mobbing, you're likely going to be meleeing targets. But you can get power generator, fast charge, reflected charge, accelerated split. There's just so many good rolls on this thing, and the damage from this is crazy. Now, when you use this weapon, it's kind of similar to the Impactor Crossbow, where you have to charge it up and then release to shoot. It does have that ability if you melee a target to do it, but you can see there, it shoots off 6 projectiles. They look cool too, but the damage from them is so much higher than the Impactor Crossbow. I'm not sure why the Impactor Crossbow is a thing, but this thing is an absolute beast of a weapon. It takes what's good about the Repeater Crossbow, and it just makes it a little bit of a different main fire. The damage, in my opinion, is a little higher than the Repeater Crossbow from what I've experienced, especially if you get certain rolls like increasing the fire rate after a melee attack. That would be the absolute best. I just love the fact that it has a similar alt fire, so you can go ahead with doing something similar to the Repeater Crossbow. And this one, I would have to say, is a little bit better. They're both, I would say, S tier weapons. So I'm going to put this one at the very top of the S tier. This thing actually shreds. Both of them are good though. The crossbows in this game feel very nice. It's just the Impactor doesn't really have that same oomph. Now, next is the Ripsaw Chakram. This weapon is crazy. So you can get a few different rolls for it. Like this one here lets all discs launch at once. Melee launch, whenever you melee a target, it's going to deal additional damage with those. Split on hit. This is crazy because it's going to split to multiple targets, which does stack with Chakram Blast, meaning you're hitting a target with all of them and they're splitting off. Razor's Edge is great too, increasing the damage over time, but it's the Tormented Retract, which is so good. This is the weapon you saw at the start of this video. The way you want to use it is shoot them at the target. I don't have 2 blades here, but you can get like 4 or 5, and then just press and hold left trigger. It's going to spin them around and it melts bosses. So again, here it is against the King. I'm using a level 37 one here, so it's not even fully maxed out. Look at that damage against the hardest boss in the game, the final boss. It's crazy. Yeah, it's so good. Basically, the flow to this weapon is you basically want to launch it on and then press the left trigger. and then just keep rinse, wash, repeat. Continually keep doing that, using your power weapon when your power generation gets up there. It can come with a variety of different rolls here. All of them are pretty good. Like, I haven't found one of these weapons that's just not good, but it is weird. I've seen some people say this weapon sucks and they don't like using it, but it's because they were probably just firing it as a main fire weapon. Some of the other chakrams in this game are a bit weird. Like, you need to retract them, shoot them, retract them, and shoot them. This one's just straight up shoot it and let it rip it apart. I was playing against a king very sloppy here, and I got a really easy win just because the damage from this thing is so high. And you can see it here, like I got it on the boss again, and you can focus on dodging and stuff. I wasn't really playing too great here, but I did use an ult there. But yeah, getting all the blades on at once, you saw his health, it is melting away. And the only thing that can really stop it is if the boss ends up using some type of invincibility, which this boss does, because otherwise this thing would clear this boss in minutes. It's a fun weapon, it's a strong weapon, and I have to say, we're getting all the bangers here. This is top of the S tier. I would have to say that this is probably like the single best bossing weapon. This is a tough one to rank because you could put it below the crossbows, because the crossbows are really good for mobbing in general, but this thing is also good against bosses or mobbing because you can have it split off and hit multiple targets here. So yeah, I just shot that one off there and it bounced over and hit another target that I didn't even see. So this thing kind of does it all. The Ripsaw Chakram is really fun to use, and I actually really like this weapon. It's cool. I haven't used a weapon like this before in a game, and I like the concept of being able to put weapons on and then spin the blades around. I don't know, it's giving me some like Half-Life 2 kind of vibes with the saw blades, and it's a chakram. It's like a very ancient Indian weapon, which I think is a cool way to introduce it in this game. And next up we got the Reapking Chakram, which has the Agony Harvest. So with this one, it's kind of similar to the last one, but a bit different. Basically what you want to do is shoot it, retract it, shoot it, retract it. I'll let you guys see the different modifiers that you can get on this. You can get the Parry Chakram there, which lets you go in and do a melee strike for a bit extra damage, but it's a pain to use. It will scale up. Like at first it's blue and then it'll change to purple and then become a bit of a pink color. That's going to show you how much damage it's dealing. And the damage from it is good, but I much rather have any of the other chakrams here over this one. It's just not a fun weapon to use. Like, it does require you to do half pulls of your left trigger there as well. So its damage it's obviously like a higher damage weapon, but you have so many other options here that are easier to use and give better results. Like, the damage from this is great. You can have it like chain around to multiple enemies in an area, which is nice, but for that same benefit, the Ripsaw I just feel like does things way better, especially if the Ripsaw has like that chain around. And you'd think it'd be great against bosses because it's meant more so for single target damage. But you can see here we're doing sweet shit, like nothing. Absolute piss damage. Like, this is just garbage. You have to use your others. And this was the funny thing is this weapon here is a higher level than the one that I used against King there with the Ripsaw Chakram. So yeah, this gun, I just didn't like the Reaping Chakram. Maybe they'll give it a buff at some point, but I gotta say, this is another one that I'm gonna put in the C tier because the other versions of the crossbow and the Chakram are just so much better, and they just feel like they don't really have a solid niche. Also, this boss here is one of the coolest bosses that I've fought in a game before. This was really fun. Now, the Ripsaw and the Myriad Chakram here. Now, what makes this one so good is that it's kind of like an assault rifle. It can do damage over time. When you use the alt fire, if it hits an enemy's weak point, it'll automatically return. And it's a really strong weapon in general. It plays like an assault rifle because you have the chakrams, they'll bounce back. If you want to get the fast movement on the blades there, just so they come back in time, so you basically have infinite ammo with this thing because it shoots the blades off, they'll do their thing, maybe they bounce around, maybe they come straight back, and it just depends on the modifiers that you have on it. But you see there, the damage from this is crazy. I dare you to go compare it to an assault rifle when you're in the end game. This thing it's way better. It does have better rolls than the assault rifles. It's a fun weapon. I like the little floating discs that you have around your character too. And yeah, this gun is actually a really fun one to use. The only thing I gotta say about it compared to like a different type of we'll compare it to, let's say, assault rifles, because kind of what this is. I do think the Onslaught Rifle is a better gun than this because the Onslaught has much higher stagger. This can do like a bit of damage over time and like different things like that, but it's, I would say, better than 2 of the 3 assault rifles, and it's better than a lot of weapons in this game. But I'd have to say this one I'm probably gonna put, I could make an argument for S tier, but I'm gonna put it at the top of the A tier here, above the Annihilator. Like, these are two really good weapons in a bit of a different niche. Like, these two are very hard to compare against each other. Now we just have the power weapons left, and honestly there's two good ones, one clunky one and one bad one, so not really worth showcasing. I think everybody knows Prominence is like the best weapon in the game. I should put a separate tier here for Prominence. It's just that good. What makes it so good though is the fact that you can shoot this thing off really quickly. You can see there, you want to get the black holes that you just saw, because those are going to do damage over time, pull enemies in, and it's just a much more powerful version of it. It's powerful either way. There's no real like there's no real best one outside of getting, like, if you want to have those vacuum bombs there. You can also have this clear enemy projectiles, and this is crazy good. If there's a certain attack against a boss you really don't like, there's some that just have very large projectiles that are Nova projectiles, hard to counter. You can then just use this here, and with the power generator you're going to be getting it back so quickly. I think Prominence is crazy good. It's the best weapon in the game. Dispiritor, D tier. It's good in like nightmare areas because you can leave the cells on the ground after it takes in an enemy, which will leave a bit of damage over time, but the hazards in this game are not really that great. I don't think this weapon is that good at all. Nova Lance isn't bad. The only thing is it does do more damage than Prominence, but the only downside is it does have a charge time. There are situations where this can clear out a room, so I will throw this at the bottom of the B tier because it's not bad per se. It's just not as good as some of the others, and obviously Prominence just being so good brings it down a notch. If Prominence didn't exist and it was just Nova Lance and Illumine here, those would probably be the two best. And Illumine, this one's pretty solid. I'm going to throw in the A tier. I do think it's better than Nova Lance. I just don't think it's as good as Prominence because you have to hold down and you your little fire attack there, which is good, but it does have like ability to leave multiple beams at the target, and that's where the damage gets a little bit crazy from it. But you have to consider that you're going to be holding down your trigger. You can't really do your movement and your dodges as easily. So yeah, it does take a beating when Prominence takes 2 seconds to shoot off, and you can actually, with Prominence against certain bosses, shoot off like 2 to 3 of these and absorb their projectiles and then shoot off 2 to 3 more. But yeah, there are some very powerful weapons in here, and Saros is a very fun game. Let me know your favorite weapon in this game because there are a lot of them and a ton of different roles. So I'm always curious to hear other people's thoughts. So let me know your favorite roles in these guns, your favorite guns in general. That right there is the tier list. So Prominence obviously being the best weapon in this game. The Ripsaw Chakram here is just so crazy good against bosses, and it's good against mobs as well. And by the time you're getting it, you're obviously in the late game. The Bifurcator Crossbow is just so crazy powerful, and same thing with the Repeater. Hard to go wrong with any of these weapons. The Onslaught though, this one is a bit more of a skill heavy weapon, so I'm going to have it at the bottom of the S tier, but the stagger this thing does is insane. The Myriad Chakram as well, really fun weapon. It kind of fills a similar role to the assault rifles. Annihilator Shotgun, the underrated pellet grenade, is so strong. Marksman Handcannon. You can honestly get by with any of these weapons. They are all quite good. Just the Impactor and the Reaping Chakram just feel a little bit clunkier and worse to use than the others. So I hope you guys did enjoy that video though, and if you did, please hit the subscribe button below. Let me know what Saros content you guys would like to see next, and I hope you all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next one.